Let me ask you a question. Who are two cricket bowlers in Test cricket with most number of Test wickets? Who are the two bowlers who have most number of Test wickets in Test cricket? Anyone knows? Number one is Muthiah Muralitharan, the Sri Lankan off spinner. How many wickets he has? 800 Test wickets he has. Number two, anyone? Number two is Shane Warne, the leg spinner from Australia. He has about 708 wickets. 708 wickets he has. Almost 1500 wickets between them. 1500 wickets between them. Like, these are so much that there are teams, Test cricket playing teams, who don't have even 500 wickets for the entire team that the entire team has taken. And these two have 1500 wickets between them. That's why they are called legends. But do you know one thing? Both of these bowlers, Muralitharan and Shane Warne, are number 3 and number 4 in the list of the bowlers who have considered the highest number of runs in Test cricket. This is not the list they would like to be in, right? They have considered highest number of runs. Number 3 and number 4, they are in that list. In fact, Shane Warne is in the top 10 of the bowlers who have considered highest number of sixes in Test cricket. Highest number of sixes. He wouldn't like to be in that list, but he is part of that top 10. Now, if you think, why is that the case? We'll say, because they have bowled so much in Test cricket, right? That is why this has happened. But just think of it. All of this that happened, the runs that they have considered, this happened in public. The sixes which were hit of their bowling were seen by everyone. Like, the fielders saw it, the crowd that had gathered there, they saw it, the fans saw it, the people who were watching on television saw it, the commentators saw it, their opposition, their, the teammates, everyone saw them getting hammered down live on, in front of their eyes. But still they are called legends, absolute legends. And when I looked at it, I thought, why is that the case? They have done so much wrong publicly in a way, then also they are called legends. And when I looked at it, and I thought, why is that the case? I read this somewhere and I felt, why is failing publicly rewarded? I always thought that failing publicly is not the great way. But I would actually try to change that, and I would like to share a story in my life that happened. A story that kind of happened in my life. I will talk about it in this video because I felt that failing publicly is kind of a price of winning. But I also like to share 3 lessons that completely changed how I look at failure actually. How I look at failure totally changed after understanding this. When I completed my studies and I was looking for jobs, I went for countless number of interviews I went for. And when I went there, and getting the interviews is also tough, right? You have to apply for a lot of companies and then probably you get an opportunity for an interview. It's not like you apply and you're called for an interview, especially at the start, right? So it's very tough to get the interviews. But even in the interviews, after getting a lot of rejections in the applications, that's sorry to inform you, we regret to inform you that you are not shortlisted for the interview stage. Once I got the interviews as well, I went there and I got hammered down. The way these guys got hammered down, I got hammered down in the interviews. Sometimes in the first round, sometimes in the, the next round, sometimes in the final round, sometimes in the panel interviews. There were a lot of people in front of me. Like the panel interviews, they are there. 4 or 5 people are taking your interviews. You are getting rejected in front of them. That's what we fear, right? That's what at least I was fearing. That what these guys are think about me. They will never call me back the way I perform because they are rejecting me because I was not able to answer to their level what was expected. But then I got a lot of interviews, got better prepared and I got a job. I was able to crack one of the interviews, I got a job. And then I thought, We just had to crack one interview. It's not like you have to crack 100 interviews, then you are a successful person. No. If you have applied to 100 companies, I'm just giving a hypothetical situation. You have applied to 100 applications, probably you'll hear back from 10, for example. You hear back from 10 saying that, we are calling you for the next round of interviews. You give those 10 interviews, probably you crack one of them and you are not a failure there. You apply to 100, you get a job. It's not a failure. It should be a success story in my eyes. But we don't think it that way. We feel that, oh my God, like I'm getting 99 rejections. 99 rejections we have received, and at different stages, at the application stage, at the interview stages, at different stages. It's always not at the first round. We have during different rounds, right? And we feel we are not succeeding, even though we are. But just that fear of, if I apply, what would happen? It's fine. Many times it's just a numbers game, right? Numbers game, how many applications you are doing, how many interviews you are doing. You are going to get better as more of it you do, more of you start doing. Now, what I think on this is, most people actually don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they are terrified of being seen failing. They are terrified. The 3 lessons that I talk about, let's get into that. It will kind of help us clear. And what I learned, I'm not giving the lessons from, as I always say, from online things. This is from my understanding. Number 1 is growth always happens in public. I would say almost always. There can be some growth that happens privately as well, yes. But almost always the growth happens in public, because if we want that private safety, we'll get that private progress. Why I say that? Just think of it. The interviews that happen are public. If you say no, how can you say that? The interviews are not public. It's between 2 people or 3-4 people. But most of the times the interviews you are giving is known to public, the people around you. They know you are going for the interview. You are not getting, you went there, what happened with your interview? How did you do? How did you perform? Did you do well or not? So when the interviews are happening, those are not in private, those are happening in public. People around you know about it. You will try to keep it down in private, but it happens in public. Similarly, the exams are public. The exams that we do, everyone is looking at it. Hey, how did you perform? How much grades did you do? What questions were asked? Oh, he got this many marks. How much marks did you get? These are public. The promotions that happen at work are public. It's not in private. Hey, you are promoted. No, those are in public. When I say public, like a lot of people around know about it. Speaking up is always public. YouTube, what I am doing right now, or YouTube, anything you comment or anything that we are, interacting is always public. And that's why when we have that public, we always see people growing in public. The failure also happens in public. But the growth always happens, almost always happens when you are in public domain. Number 2, avoiding embarrassment costs years. If you are trying to avoid embarrassment, what kind of embarrassment are we looking at? For example, you are trying to over prepare for that exam. So you are not registering for that exam. You have to take a date. You are not registering. Oh, I am not prepared for it. That's why I am not registering for the exam. If you are not registering for the exam, then you are preparing and over prepare. You are delaying that. I am not applying because I am not ready for that interview. If I get an interview, I am not ready. That's why I am not applying for that company's position. Even though I am ready, I am interested in that, but I am not ready. So you are trying to prepare for that. It always happens on those lines. Over preparing, thinking, delaying. All of that costs years because we think we are waiting for that perfect time, perfect moment. Then only I will apply, and that's why it costs years later. This is what I am trying to share from my experience. Number 3, public failure is temporary. But that regret is permanent. And I always believe this because the public failure that we looked at, right, at the start, with the legends that we talked about, that was temporary. They are still the legends. Even if you know now that they have considered so many runs, they are still the legends of the cricket game. And you can relate this to other games as well. You can relate this to basketball, you can relate it to tennis, any game that you look at. The success rate is always less than the failures that those people did, because to succeed you don't need so many, to hit so many success criteria. You just need to hit 1 or 2, and the failures are always more than that. That's fine. If you're afraid of being judged, embarrassed, or seen trying, that fear that we have, that fear that we feel is normal. I just want to share that is normal. But understand this piece. Every person that we admire failed publicly before they won publicly. It's fine. They have failed, but they also won later publicly. It's fine even if you are failing publicly. It's not an embarrassment, or it's not something. Even if you fear, don't think that as a failure. And if you're still trying despite the fear that you have, and you are still trying, you are already ahead of most of the people. Most of the people are not trying also. If you are still trying, remember, you have that fear, that is normal, but if you are still trying, you are already ahead of a lot of people. And I'm pretty sure if you understand the video that we talked about now, you are going to be successful. Because don't try to stay in private, try to go public. Please comment any fear that you have related to going public, failing in public, the embarrassment or the fear that you have in the comments, and it will be great to hear about it in the comments.